Welcome to this video where we're going to do a guided meditation. You'll find that there will be a considerable amount of talking or guidance throughout this session. We also have another recorded video of this same meditation, but without the talking, just a few reminders at the beginning, and then you can use it more as a timer for your meditation. The entire session will last about 45 minutes, but you can adjust that however best fits your available time. So for this session, we're going to talk about all of the basic fundamentals that are important to be aware of to establish a good, solid, fundamental meditation practice. Now, the first area of consideration is the posture, how you choose to sit. There are many different options, from the very traditional cross-legged postures, maybe one or both feet up on your thighs in what's often referred to as a half lotus position or a full lotus position. And these work very well for meditation. Some people find them very comfortable. Some people find them very challenging. It's important to find a balance between what's comfortable, what allows you to achieve stillness. Some people like the Japanese Zen postures, seiza, where they're sitting on the knees or in a very upright posture with the knees bent underneath. And others opt to sit in a chair. Any of these postures will work just fine for being able to enter the meditative state, cross-legged on the floor or a cushion, on the knees on the floor or a cushion, or sitting comfortably in a chair. The most important elements of seated posture is that regardless of how you sit, that the belly is able to expand and contract without any restrictions, or without any limitations. Our breathing technique is going to drive the breath deep into the body and allow for expansion and contraction. And the second critical or very important element in the seated posture is that the spine is held very straight from wherever we make contact with the ground or the surface, straight up through the torso to the top of the head, that the spine is very straight, so there's no restriction on the blood circulation or qi flow through the body, can all flow unimpeded. So whatever seated posture you choose one that allows you to establish and sustain stillness for the duration of the meditation session, allows for unimpeded expansion and contraction of the abdominals, and allows you to establish and sustain the spine as very straight. Once we choose the posture that we want to use for this meditation session, the next consideration is our breathing technique. In Chan practice, we use a very simple, very basic breathing. There's nothing exotic, nothing complex about it. We use our very natural duration of breath. The only difference is we do the breathing all through the nose, so we allow the filtration system of the nasal passages to cleanse the breath as it comes into the body. So we'll inhale through the nose. We'll feel the breath coming in through the nasal passages, flowing down through the throat, flowing down through the lungs, and into the belly. Some people find it beneficial to take the fingertips and press them in to the abdominal area just below the rib cage. And as they inhale, they can feel that inflation deep in the body that sort of pushes the fingertips out a little bit. And then as we exhale, you feel the fingertips start to move inward a little bit, or really be able to feel that deflation of the lower abdominals. It's important that we feel a very clear sensation of the breath going deep into the body expanding in the abdominals, pausing for just a moment, and then exhalation along that same path. We breathe out and we feel the breath go through the lungs, and through the nasal passages, and back out into the world. Our breath is just our simple, natural, normal breath, but we want to be aware of, or mindful of the duration of the breath. The inhalation can be, maybe we count off 3 or 4 or 5 as we inhale. Bring the breath into the body, feel the inflation, pause, and then allow the exhalation to be of the same length of time or the same duration. So if we counted to 4 as we inhale, we want to count to 4 as we exhale. The in-breath is very stimulating. It brings oxygen and nutrients into the body, revitalizes, renourishes the physical self. The exhalation releases that used or spent air that's no longer providing benefit. It's very cleansing. It's very softening and relaxing. So what we're striving for is a center point between the invigorating sense or the stimulating sense of the in-breath and the softening or relaxing state of the out-breath, so that we can find this very centered point of stimulated relaxation. And we do that by harmonizing the duration of the in-breath and the out-breath to be equal. So inhale for whatever our normal breath is, allow it to go deep into the body, pause, and the out-breath to flow back out of the body, seeking the center point. We don't leave the fingertips below the ribs for the duration of the meditation. We'll just do that for a few breaths until we're sure the breath is going deep into the body, and then we'll relax the hands into another position that I'll talk about in a minute. And we don't count the breaths for the duration of the meditation. We may count the first few breaths until we feel we've established that center point, the in-breath and out-breath being of equal duration. And then we release from the counting and just allow the breath to naturally flow through the remainder of the time that we're practicing seated meditation. So for the next minute or so, let's just work to establish that center point of breath. You can count the duration of the in-breath, count the duration of the out-breath or the exhalation, and assure they're generally even. The amount of energy in and the amount of energy out is in balance. And as you start to find that center point of breath, we're going to add in some points of concentration, or to some practice techniques to help us to establish focus. The first of those is the hand position. We just gently rest one palm in the other, hold the thumbs up kind of high above that, creating a bit of an archway, to where the thumb tips are touching but not quite touching. So close together that we couldn't even slide a sheet of paper between the two thumb tips, and yet not actually making contact. We try to establish that touching but not touching position and maintain that for the duration of the meditation. Now you'll find early on that it's very common that the thumb tips will crash together or they'll drift apart, especially when we're allowing thoughts to intervene, or we're taking simple thoughts and creating complex thoughts with them. Whenever you notice that the thumbs have crashed together or drifted apart, just place them back in that touching but not touching position, and you'll find with time it becomes very comfortable, very natural to maintain that point of focus. The second point of focus is the tip of the tongue. We'll roll the tongue back so that it goes into a position where the tip of the tongue is touching but not touching the roof of the mouth or the upper palate, where it's making touching but not touching just behind the front teeth. Again, just like we did with the thumbs, we'll find that if we start to create complex thoughts or emotions start to arise around thoughts, that the tongue will drift away from the roof of the mouth and fall down back into a more natural position lower in the mouth. And whenever we notice that, just place it back into that touching but not touching position and resume focusing on the center of the breath. In Heart Chan meditation, it's at your discretion if you'd like to have the eyes open and watch the scenes in the video, or if you prefer to close the eyes, if that allows you to become more centered and focused on sensations happening within the self. So it's your choice if for the remainder of the session, if you want to gently close the eyes, or if you want to allow the eyes to remain open, what we call a soft eyes glaze, where you're not really trying to focus intently and clearly, but allowing everything in the field of view to just soften and relax. Either of those is perfectly fine for the duration of the meditation. So for the next couple of breaths, just establish that hand mudra, that hand position, with the thumbs touching but not touching, the tongue against the roof of the mouth, also touching but not touching, and maintaining the center point of the breath, the inhalation and the exhalation of equal duration, coming deep into the body, inflating, pausing, deflating. So we've established the basic elements of posture. We're sitting in a way that allows for stillness. We're sitting where the spine is very straight and upward, like a pine tree reaching towards the sun. We've established the hand position, the tongue position, and the center point of the breath. The next step in the meditation is relaxing the body, relaxing the physical self, so that it's no longer creating distraction to being able to enter into a meditative state. For many people, to hold the spine nice and straight through the meditation, not allowing it to deteriorate into a more curved or twisted position, is to imagine or visualize that there's a contact point on the very top of the head. It's pulling a very gentle tension upwards, allowing the spine to stay very straight, take some of the pressure and strain off of the lower back, and makes for a more comfortable posture. Well, we're going to move our attention to that point on the very top of the head, where if I were attaching a string or a wire to pull some tension, where would that connection point be? Right on the top of the head, the highest point of the skull or the scalp. And as we focus there, we're going to kind of generally lean towards the out-breath or the exhalation. Exhalation softens and relaxes. So with each breath, we're going to focus on that point right on the top of the head. And as we exhale, we're going to feel it soften and relax. We're going to feel the skin soften, smooth, feel very intricate details of the softening and relaxing, almost as if we're observing with a microscope. We feel the pores of the skin soften and relax in harmony with the out-breath. We feel even the weight of the hair pulling tension against the surface of the skin. And with each exhalation, we feel that soften and relax a little deeper, a little more completely, till it almost feels that it's relaxing from a solid, softening and relaxing to where it almost feels like it's becoming a liquid state, a soft gelatin that gets thinner and thinner with each out-breath, and then relaxes into where it becomes almost like a gas or a vapor, just fading and dissipating until there's nothing left in that point but void. There's no sensation of solidness at all. So we focus on softening and relaxing this point on the very top of the head, and with each exhalation, softens and relaxes a little fuller, a little more completely. And now, imagine that just above that point on the top of the head, it's now becoming very soft, very relaxed, very liquid, very vapor sensation. And imagine that a valve of a very warm, soothing oil being poured onto that spot, and then just flows downward over the body from that. And everything it comes in contact with, it softens and relaxes. You feel this warm, soothing oil flowing down over the back of the head. Feel this warm, soothing sensation flowing down the sides of the head, around the ears, and flowing down over the face. And we feel all of the musculature, all of the skin softening and relaxing a little further, a little deeper, a little more completely with each exhalation. We feel the skin of the forehead. If we're feeling frustrated or anger, aggravation, impatience, all of these things will often cause us to pull the skin very tight on the forehead, making these deep wrinkles or furrows. And as we feel this soft, relaxing, warm oil flowing down, we feel the skin soften and relaxed, becoming very smooth. We feel the emotions associated with that soften, relax, and dissipate. And we feel this warm, soothing oil continuing to flow over the face, down around the eyes, softening and relaxing the nose, the lips, the chin, the jaw. Everything that flows down over just softens and relaxes in harmony with each exhalation. And then there's a sense of flowing down the neck and out across the shoulders. And the shoulders is another area where we'll hold tension, hold stress. We'll pull the shoulders tight up towards the ears. And with each exhalation, just relax and soften. Allow the shoulders to relax and drop away from the ears. And the weight of the arms is pulling a very gentle tension downwards to help and assist with that relaxation. So there's a sense of this warm, soothing oil flowing from the top of the head, across the face and the back of the head and the sides of the head, relaxing everything in the face, softening and relaxing down across the shoulders and down through the arms. As the shoulders relax, we feel this warm, soothing oil flowing down through the upper arms, the elbows, down through the forearms, and out through the fingers. And with each exhalation, there's this very deep sensation of flow, just a softening and relaxing flow from the top of the head down out through the arms. And the whole torso itself almost starts to feel, if you can imagine a candle burning, and as the candle burns, it goes from a solid to a liquid around the flame. And when the liquid builds up enough, it flows down over the sides of the candle into the candle holder, and it makes the base of the candle, the wax buildup becomes more solid, more dense, and helps with the stability of holding the candle up. Well, imagine the whole torso itself as you exhale, flowing down into your seated posture. It's almost like the upper torso is becoming liquid and flowing down. It adds to the stability, it adds to the stillness of our seated posture. It allows us to be very solid, very still. And then just like we had that flowing sensation from the shoulders down through the arms and out through the fingers, we have this sensation of the torso melting and flowing down into the hips, and then flowing out through the legs, flowing out through the thighs and the knees, and back through the shins and the calves, to the ankle, out through the toes. And with each exhalation, you feel this sensation of softening, relaxing, flow, everything aiding and contributing to stability and stillness. As the body relaxes, as we find areas of tension and focus on the exhalation to soften, relax, and dissipate that tension until the body completely and deeply relaxes. We strive to maintain the tips of the thumbs touching but not touching, the tongue touching but not touching the roof of the mouth, and sustaining the deep belly breath with the inhalation and the exhalation of equal duration. And as the body relaxes and quiets and becomes less and less of a distraction to the seated meditation, often at that point the mind becomes very dominant, that we feel thoughts entering the mind, the thoughts that enter or then stimulate emotional responses and reactions. And so it's important that we use the same process, the same points of focus and concentration to release and relax the thoughts and their associated emotions. In Chan practice, we don't try to stop the thoughts, we don't try to block them, we don't try to encapsulate them or press them down into the self somewhere. We allow them to naturally flow. Everything has a very natural life cycle, an arising, a sustaining for a while, and a fading away. Every breath reinforces this model. The breath comes in, pauses for a moment, and then flows out. Thoughts follow the same pattern. Thoughts arise, they dwell for a period of time, and then they fade. In meditation, we don't want to try to stop that natural flow. We want the thoughts to arise, potentially providing some insight to what's happening deep within the self. Not that's buried in our normal daily activities where we saturate ourselves with so many thoughts, emotions, and activities, we can lose touch with what is really happening deep within the self. In seated meditation, we provide an opportunity for that deeper essence of self to rise to the surface. But we don't attach to it in our meditation practice. We allow it to arise, provide some insight to self, and then allow it to dissipate. Whatever rises up, be mindful not to do a value judgment. Don't try to judge the thought as good or bad or right or wrong. Don't try to analyze or evaluate or categorize the thought. Don't associate it with a past experience or project it to a potential future activity, environment, or situation. Just allow the thought to arise and fade in its infinite simplicity. We don't add or embellish anything that may stimulate emotion. In fact, ideally, we want to sort of step back and almost like we're a third-party objective observer, and just allowing the thoughts to arise, allowing the thoughts to fade. If we gain some insight from them, we can contemplate that later. But for now, we just want to look and watch and let them go, just as if we were watching a scene in a distance from us. We watch the thoughts arise and fade. And we return to the points of concentration, the thumbs touching but not touching, the tongue against the roof of the mouth, touching but not touching. Maintaining the center point of the breath, the inhalation and the exhalation deep into the body, into the belly, the in-breath and out-breath of equal duration, the stimulating in-breath, the softening and relaxing out-breath, maintaining stillness like the colossal bell, the spine straight like the pine tree, the body softened and relaxed, the mind softened, relaxed, not attached, not embellished, dissipating to a sense, deep, abiding sense of calm and centeredness and peacefulness. And now you can relax from this meditative state. I hope you found some benefit from these very basic fundamentals of seated meditation and a guided talk through of how to establish the basic posture, how to establish a very natural, deep belly breath, points of concentration, thumbs and the tongue, and relaxation method to quiet and relax the body, a process to soften, relax, and not attach to thoughts. You can extend this meditation for as long as you feel comfortable. And in this session, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is a guided method through our meditation. Lots of talking to help you establish the basic foundations. Once you're comfortable with these, the next meditation in this series will be what we call silent meditation. It will just be a very brief review of these key elements at the beginning, and then a duration of time to be able to just sit in silence and go through this process for yourself, however long it takes to relax the body, however long it takes to quiet the mind, and then just use that as a timed meditation. So I hope you enjoy this series. I hope you find benefit in it. We look forward to sharing our practice with you, and if you find this beneficial, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll try to continue to offer practice tips and methods with you. So thank you so much for sharing this time together. Cherish each moment and find the joyfulness.
and